you can press start, and then people should start.
Live.
Great. So we'll give it another couple of seconds, and then yeah, we can make a start. Just in case someone is struggling to get on. Okay, let's make a start anyway, and anyone else can sign in as and when they come on. So hello and welcome to our Spark intro session on our workshop series, Sweat, Scale and Sell with Pavlo Phitidis. Thank you all so much for joining us today. It's great to have you here. Just before I hand you over to Pavlo, I'd just like to quickly say a few words about Spark for those of you that aren't aware of what we do. So Spark is a Bruntwood Works free support program designed to help you and your businesses thrive. It's filled with tons of great events, including webinars, workshops, and advisor sessions, all on a range of interesting business topics. If you haven't had a chance to sign up to the Sweat, Scale, Sell workshop series yet, or you're interested in seeing what other exciting business topics we'll be exploring, head over to the Spark webpage at bruntwood.co.uk/Spark to get involved. And lastly, if you've got any questions about the Spark program or you'd like more information to get involved, feel free to drop the Spark team an email at spark@bruntwood.co.uk. So anyway, that's enough about Spark. We're here to talk about Pavlo and the upcoming workshop series. So I'll hand you over to him now. If you've got any questions, feel free to add them into the chat or the Q&A section, and we'll get through to them at the end of the session. So yeah, over to you, Pavlo.
Thank you very much, Mary. Well, good afternoon to all of you. It's an absolute pleasure to have you here. Bob, I am so excited to see you attending, to see your presence, hear your presence, feel your presence. The robotic lawnmower installation sounds like such a fascinating business. Many years ago, in South Africa, one of the best known inventions ever made was an automated pool cleaner, which they called the creepy crawly. You now see them everywhere around the world, but it really struck me that you and that particular inventor had a lot in common. Anka, it's fantastic to see you. I had a look at your website. Really love the work you do. The interior designing, the architecture, the landscaping, I think it's going to become increasingly more important. There's lots of discussion taking place globally at the moment around, well, what happens to the workspace? You know, do people come back to work? What can you do remotely? What do you lose remotely in the business itself? So there's lots of discussion ahead in your sector, in your industry. I think it's something very, very exciting. Dan, I've got to tell you, that app that you guys have built is so clever. It is so smart. It is such a quick, easy way, especially in the era of marketing, where you're looking to find promotional agents in certain parts of the world, the ability to very quickly source, select talent that really comes across through personality in the sales and marketing environment is, I think you are at the early stage of such an efficient processing application for the big eventing promotion agencies out there. And in fact, I think I might have one or two really interesting leads for you. We've done work historically with the business that I think employs around 3,800 promotional agents. And as you know, they come and go, so they're constantly forever recruiting, we should definitely have a discussion. James, the same to you. Mr. Solomides, flexible workspaces. Models are going to change. I'm under so much pressure to do some thinking and writing on, well, what do you lose and what can you gain? from remote work, especially in the services sector. The manufacturing sector, it's still pretty solid. Presence on the floor is important, obviously. In the product and trade sector, it's equally important. You're constantly dealing with packages, goods, and services, so you need your teams around. But the service industry, it's fascinating to see. And in fact, already I've started to observe that big, beautiful buildings and office spaces that have been created are in certain parts of the world. We work across the United Kingdom, the United States, Germany, specifically in Holland, in Greece, and in South Africa, and in Singapore. And I've started to notice already that office space that used to be scarce in some of the inner city environments is now being reshaped into residential accommodation, because the views of the property owners is that it's unlikely that people will acquire office space in the way that they used to historically. So it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in your business. Let me not spend too much time talking about all of you. Let me share a little bit about me. My name is Pavlo Phitidis. I am the founder of Auric Business. We are a growth service that targets mid-tier companies, classically doing between $1 and $50 million a year. It's a very particular portion of the growth life cycle that we've developed some interesting expertise in. We work extensively with technology. We work even more so with data. And very fortunately, touch wood, we have now worked with over 2,800 businesses across sector, across industry, solving commercial challenges that have seen them grow an average compound annual growth rate of 28.9% in revenues and a 32.4% lift in EBITDA numbers. Critical and important. Growth without a growth in profitability is not growth, it's just more headache. I'm also an author of Sweat Scale Sell, How to Build Your Business into an Asset of Value. An asset of value is a very particular kind of business that has 5 features to it. It's a business that is positioned to win in a highly contested, increasingly commoditized, and very, very noisy space. I think the ability to reach clients that fit what you are able to service and deliver and solve a problem for has become increasingly a challenge. You think about the concentration already on our social platforms and the pay-to-play gig running out at the moment through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through Google, through all these social platforms. Reaching the right customers with the right proposition has become very, very challenging. Positioning, we argue, around a brand especially, is about an experience that you create that solves a well-defined problem for a well-defined audience. Many people argue against me and say, yes, but doesn't that limit you? I think in today's world, depending on the style of business you're in, the type of commodity or service or product that you offer, it absolutely does not limit you. We have seen across our portfolio of clients, those that narrowed, those that simplified, scaled and grew. The next layer of an asset of value is what we refer to as a system of delivery. You see, the commercial functions are the same in every business. They articulate differently, they orchestrate it slightly differently, but they're the same. All of us have to market in order to generate leads. All of us have to sell to convert those leads. All of us have to service those leads through our operational and fulfillment processes. We have to administer and manage the leads through our financial and administrative processes as well. Those functions should operate as one single integrated, orchestrated system. We view businesses as built through design and engineering to create a consistent, reliable experience for clients based on positioning. Thereafter, the third layer is a purposeful team. And what fascinates me continuously is that around the world today, more and more and more of us are getting access to more and more and more education, more skill, more capability. And yet, one of the most resounding complaints I get from clients that I work with is, gosh, you know, If you want something done properly, do it yourself. There is an art to recruiting and capacitating a team made up of the right people to do the right thing at the right time. And I think the traditional way that we have been taught to approach it is fundamentally flawed. So once you are positioned well, once you have a system of delivery in play, once you have a purposeful team in play, it does two magical things for you. The first is it allows the business to grow organically, whilst the second feature, releasing significant periods of time to lead the next level of growth, as opposed to being the sole proximate cause of growth. I understand that many of you are in earlier stage businesses. It's fundamental that you engineer the design of your business to grow consistently and organically and predictably, so to release your time to focus on next level growth. The argument always is put to me, well, why is growth so important? What if I simply want a lifestyle business? I hesitate to say this because it can be misunderstood in such a short period of engagement between us. But if your business is not growing, it's dying. And it's dying for a couple of reasons. The rate of change and the vibrancy and shifts in your customer's world and experience is happening at a profound, remarkable, but consistent rate. At the same time, with more and more players coming into the world of business ownership, if I look across the UK, 99.78% of businesses have revenues below £1.8 million a year. It is a highly contested environment. It is extremely challenging. And if you're not out there constantly featuring and looking for growth, well, someone else might be looking to get that growth from your customers or the customers that you ought to have secured. The final part is around value. When a business is well built, that is, it's being perfectly well positioned, it knows who it serves, it becomes expert at serving a segment rather than expert at offering a product or a service. And there's a difference between the two. It has a system of delivery to maintain that positioning. It has a purposeful team to empower and give life to those systems, to yield a consistent organic growth and release your time. And if that growth is very well designed and thought out, you will see an increase in your revenues, a moderation in your costs, and the yawn between revenue and profit or EBITDA growth. It's ultimately vital should you wish to of a day exit the business and monetize the years of sweat, strain, sacrifice, risk, and investment you've made in your business. So I'm going to be running a workshop, a very, very practical workshop around three key components. The first component will be how you position a business in a very competitive world. How do you stand out from the crowd? How do you define your business and build a brand independent of yourself so that the business eventually over time becomes independent of you, your hand, and your name? Essential should you of a day one day wish to exit with a capital gain. In other words, a successful sale. And this matters because globally, 94.6% of businesses started failed to sell. And I'm not talking about early stage businesses. I'm talking about businesses that are 20, 30, 40 years long in the tooth, that have generated successfully good income for their founders, their owners, their shareholders. Ultimately, we spend 10, 20, 30, 40 years building our businesses. The time of exit is normally administered through between 30 to 80 hours of transaction negotiation and valuations. And yet 94.6% fail to sell. They close at a great cost to us, our families, our employees. And the reason is simple. We build businesses to generate income. Businesses are not bought. They need to be built to be sold. So we will cover positioning in one workshop. It's interactive. There are 5 elements to it. You will be doing the work. I or one of my team members will be facilitating, and you will walk out with a crisp, clear positioning statement for your business that will have a dramatic impact, not only on lead generation, but on lead conversion too. We then move to the second workshop, scale. Scale is all about creating a system of delivery. How do you take your genius? How do you take the way that you envisage your business servicing your clients? How do you take the way that you choose to market your business? That when you have inquiries coming in, engage with those inquiries and ensure conversion. And once you've converted, ensure that as you deliver the product or promise or service that you have offered that client, that they believe they're acquiring from you, that it happens in an absolutely consistent, reliable way, and in a manner that's teachable, so that you yourself don't have to do it. That system of delivery is essential, and it operates across all 5 functions of every business. See it like this. The business systems in the body are like the head, heart, liver, kidney, and spleen. They're orchestrated, of course, through the brain. The body itself, the musculoskeletal structure, will change shape depending on what sector and what industry you're in. But every athlete has systems made up of organs orchestrated by brain. You can have a heart working really well, but if your lungs aren't functioning effectively, the entire orchestration of the systems prevents an athlete from performing. In a business, I believe one of the biggest challenges we face is to optimize the functions of marketing, sales, operations, procurement, administration, finance, and human capital, and then to integrate and coordinate them so that they work as a single seamless instance. We will get that covered through a very clever methodology that we now apply across 207 activities with our clients. So I will empower you to do it in your own business. The final piece is we're going to talk about the future. And the future is equally practical. How does valuation work? You know, we never think about it. Very often when I speak to business owners, and in fact, our founding client, and in fact, the main character in the book, Sweat Scale Sell, Jack the Baker, whom I met at the age of 54, came to see me for the simple reason that he could not sell his business for what he felt it was worth. He'd been 30 years, long in the tooth, starting at the age of 29, seeing me at the age of 55, grumpy, miserable, depressed. And he said, I can't sell my business. And I said, how so, Jack? And he said, well, I can't get the price I need. And when I looked at his numbers and I put on the buyer's hat, very quickly I could see why he was nowhere close from a valuation point of view to what he thought it was worth. Valuation is in part mathematics and in part the wrapping around it. And in the final session, sell, we will talk about the future, how you approach that future, which for some of you might be 5 years away, and some of you might be 15, 20 years away, in order to position the business for exit. That would see you take the average 2 multiples applied to profits and build them with 5 levers to around a 7 multiple. They say wisdom is a combination of insight and foresight. Through the sweat period, where we do positioning, through scale, where we do positioning, the insight is assured. Through sell, where we look into the future, combining that foresight will give you the wisdom, hopefully, to take your business to the next level and ensure that you build it into an asset of value. The sessions will all be interactive, they'll be workshopped, there will be systems that I share with you. They're simple, they're easy, they are artisanal, in other words, fundamentally practical, There is no theory, I'm afraid, because last time I looked, the business was built by the hands of its owner. So I really do hope to see you there. I would love to hear your thoughts on it. If you have any questions, please use the chat, send them through to me, and I'll be sure to address them. Nicola, incidentally, I had a look at your website, Natural Nail Care Brand. Wow, I think it really has got legs to it. One of my clients runs a nail franchising business that has, I think, upwards of 284 nail practitioners. I don't know what products they have, but there might be an interesting contact for you to engage with. If you've got capacity and scale in place, but a really interesting route to market for you over there. And Catherine, nursery products. I love that. One of my clients, an old client, we worked with him years ago, recently had a child, and he walked past his first child. He walked past her bedroom, the baby room. And as he did every night, he leant over to give her a kiss goodnight. She was a toddler, an infant, a newborn baby, I think in her third day, fourth day. And as he bent over to kiss her, he realized that she was not breathing. Quickly, he remedied it. He shook her, he did whatever he had to. The baby began to breathe again. And he was infuriated. He was infuriated because he had acquired a device that allows you to listen to the baby. So typically, he and his wife might be having dinner. They could hear if the baby was grumbling or crying, and they could address it in the other room. And what he realized is that this monitor only picked up sound. So he set about building a product called Snoozer. And Snoozer is a baby breath monitor. He subsequently now sold upwards of around 2 million units. The second client that I have in California has created something called the Baby Barista. Any of you who've had kids would know that of the moment a child is meant to have its milk or food, and you don't give it to that kid in the moment, it screams with a fury that makes you feel like a negligent parent. And she created an automated system for bottle-fed babies that is called the Baby Barista. I'd love to put you in contact with her. She's wonderful. She has a similar history, not quite the same history as yours, which comes out of education, but hers is very much in nursing. And I think the two of you would get on famously. It would be a worthwhile conversation. I see, hi Nicola, he was just noting that he works, there we go. Someone answering for me, thank you. Yes, I was talking about you, Nicola, but Pip has answered on my behalf. Folks, we have 7 minutes left. I don't want to rob anyone of time. If you have any questions, if you'd like to know anything further about the workshop, please let me know. Pop it onto the chat. I'm more than happy to obviously answer it. I would love to have you there. The more the merrier. If you think this could be of value to any other business owners that you work with, there might be customers, there might be suppliers, get them on board. We'll have a lot of fun in the process, and we will, I've just signed with a new South African distributor. Oh, well done, Nicola, that's fantastic. Well done, that is really great. That is really great. We will have an enormous amount of fun, and through the discussion that we have with each other, I can assure you, we will all step out far richer than when we entered. Wonderful, folks. If there is nothing further, please do register. Please come on board. I will make you work. It will be to your advantage. It will be to your benefit, simply because you will walk out with very, very practical tool sets that will have an impact on your business the very next day. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for being part of Spark. And again, Bruntwood, you guys do a fantastic job. It makes an enormous difference, especially in a time of crisis. A time of crisis, especially what we have been through, wow, makes everybody self-doubt. And the opportunity to get perspective is enormously valuable. With that, I shall be signing off and signing out. Take care, and we'll see you on the other side.